George Basha, how are you, mate?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. I mean, it's like I said earlier, it's surreal to have you sitting here in front of me. Like growing up, I idolized you and all the work you did, and because obviously back then I was trying to be an actor myself. You know, I was going through the cycle and trying to get into the industry, and being Lebanese background as well, I used to idolize you. So
That'll
if
help.
George Basha can do it, I can do it. So
Anybody can do it. If George Basha can do it, anybody can do it.
yeah, like I
So
said,
true.
it's surreal having you here, man. So thank you for
It's
coming
good to
on.
be here, man. Good
Thank
to be
you,
here.
thank you. How you been? How's everything going?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. Yeah, things have been good. Can't complain. We're healthy. It's the most important thing, and raising some kids.
How many kids do you have now?
Three.
Three.
Got three.
How old are they?
I've got a 18-year-old. Well,
Yep.
he turns 19 soon, and 16,
Mm-hmm.
and 11-year-old.
Wow,
so
okay.
one boy, two girls.
And how old are you now? Sorry.
Me.
Yeah. If you don't mind me
My
asking.
age, man. I'm like a female. No, I'm 51.
51. You don't look it, man. I'm telling you, you look maybe 21, 22.
I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah, look, man. Look, like I said, it's a pleasure having you on. Essentially, I just want the audience to get to know you a little bit. Everyone in the community knows George Basha. Like, you're an idol in the Lebanese community. But I'd love for them to get to know you personally as well. A little bit about your background, how you got started, all that sort of stuff. So,
Go for gold.
so I know you grew up in Western Sydney.
Yeah. Born in Parramatta, so I'm a Parramatta boy, born and
Big
bred.
Parramatta supporter.
Huge Parramatta supporter. My late father was a huge Para supporter. So
Allah yarhamah.
thank you. So the whole family is Parramatta. Even my kids now are Parramatta. So
Your kids? So you forced them into that, or they fell into that?
I didn't force them. I had the belt there, but it didn't. No. It's just the way it is.
So I regret pushing my kids into supporting St George as much as I love St George, unfortunately.
Mate, I don't think my dad regretted pushing me into Parramatta.
Yeah.
'Cause he wanted me to suffer as much as he did. But I'm lucky because I'm old enough to have seen a grand final.
Yeah,
I just feel for the new generation.
Yeah. How long has it been now? 40 years?
Ooh, 86 was the last time.
Wow, it's been 39 years.
Yeah,
40,
time,
yeah.
long time.
So no longer the Dragons. The Dragons were the chokers of 30 years, but before 2010, so...
Yeah, but we can argue there. We can argue a point there, right?
Yeah, what can we
Melbourne
argue?
Storm didn't play in that competition. Remember, they were stripped because they ripped Parramatta off that year.
Yeah.
All right? Then you guys didn't get to play them.
So you reckon if they were in, we wouldn't have got it that
Well,
year?
they won it the following year, didn't they?
They did. They did. So Western Sydney, Parramatta.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Western Sydney?
We moved into Guildford.
Yeah.
So Guildford has changed a lot. When we first moved in, it was a lot of white people. It was Spot the Wog.
Really?
Really?
I didn't know that
Yeah,
about
no,
Guildford.
it was a lot of white people.
Okay.
And then now it's Spot the White.
Spot the white man.
So we're from spotting the Wog to spotting the white man now.
Yeah.
So it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I grew up. I love Western Sydney.
Mm.
I think Western Sydney is the best part of Australia. I really do. I think I've travelled a fair bit. I've done a fair bit of Australia.
Very underrated.
It is
Very underrated,
We have-
especially
we
with
have
everything
everything.
happening like out there now. Because I have a cousin who bought a house in Western Sydney. I'd say West Hoxton.
Yeah.
West.
Very nice area.
Yeah, I remember when he bought and he moved out there. There was really nothing around there. This I'm talking about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now,
Farms back then.
now it's unbelievable. Everything is within 5 minutes.
Everything.
The food trucks, the facilities, the gyms, everything's around the corner.
How good's the
I
food in
envy
Western-
it.
How good's the food in Western Sydney?
Unbelievable.
It's the best.
We have nothing around here.
That's what I'm saying. It's the best. I saw this whole multiculturalism thing change in Western Sydney. So I've grown up, when I used to go to school, I used to get scared of the white kids because they used to pick on us for being wogs.
Yep.
So it's changed a lot. So that's why I laugh these days
Yeah.
when people use the race card. It pisses me off.
Yeah.
Especially when they use the race card.
Because you really went through it.
Yeah, I went through it, and I'm not saying people don't deal with racism these days. They do, but I don't think they do to the point of what my generation went through,
Yeah.
or the generation before me went through. And the worst thing I really, really dislike is when someone is chasing a dream.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about acting. It could be acting, could be sports,
Just a dream in
and
general.
they pull the race card out and they stop chasing that dream.
What do you mean pull the race card out? Like as in like the
Oh, they didn't pick me because they're racist.
Yeah.
Or I
Okay.
didn't get this because they're racist.
Oh, you mean the person themselves is chasing the dream,
That's
kind
right.
of blaming
and
race.
they start, when they want
Okay.
to throw the towel in and give up, they
Okay.
pull the race. And I hate that.
So it's almost like an excuse.
It is an excuse.
Yeah.
Because I went through it, and there was a lot of racism in my time. When I got into the film industry in the 90s, it was all white. You know, and there were a lot of doors that were closed in my face. Constantly. I just kept going until I kicked one down eventually.
Yeah.
You know? And I think, you know, when I see young kids these days and they say, oh, they didn't pick me because, you know, I'm Lebanese or, you know, I'm Italian or whatever I am. And I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah.
Go back next year
Yeah.
and kick the door down again.
I feel like you can't really use that nowadays because
Well, people do that.
I mean,
I think people do.
they do, but they really shouldn't because Australia is like multicultural as hell nowadays. You know, like it's not like it was when you were growing up. Even when
100%.
when I was growing up as well, there was because I grew up during like Cronulla riots and all that period. So the heaps of racism and everything back then. It was even harder for you. But I feel like now there isn't as much as there was back then. So if you're using that as an excuse, it's almost like, you know, you're
It's
using
a
that as
cop-out.
it's a cop out. Like you're just not.
And even back then, I refused to use it as an excuse. I refused to use it because if you believe in your talent, if you believe to where you want to get in life, then you've got to be willing to take the punches, man. You got to be willing to do what you got to do to show. You know, people say to me all the time, "What's the biggest thing I have achieved?" You know, and it's the fact that I was able to break down barriers, and let especially the Lebanese Australian community look, go, he's one of us. He's done it. Why the hell can't we do it?
Well, you paved the way.
And that, to me, is my biggest achievement. Everyone always asks me about it. It's my biggest achievement. It's not about making the films. It's about if a kid from Western Sydney can go out and do what I've done, then everybody's a chance to do
Anyone
what
can
I,
do
you know,
it.
as long as you're passionate and you really want to follow that dream.
So we're talking about acting now, and obviously your background, acting, filmmaking. What was it about acting or film initially that drew you in? Obviously, coming from Western Sydney, being Lebanese background, it's not necessarily the first thing that we think about. Because, you know, growing up, like, I'm sure your dad was like, you know, as we were speaking off camera before, go get a trade or do this or do that. Or you got to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever it is. So generally speaking, you know, coming from an Arab background, when you tell your parents, I want to be an actor, how did your dad react to that? Firstly, what drew you to that, and how
My
did your
dad.
family? You did that? Okay.
Because my dad was a big movie buff.
Okay.
So I remember I used to sit down with him and I used to watch films like The Magnificent Seven, First Blood.
All the OGs.
You know, all the old Clint Eastwood films, you know, Fistful of Dollars, all those, you know, cowboy films. And I used to sit down and watch with him, and that drew me into cinema. And then my dad, believe it or not, used to work in Lebanon in a cinema where he was the one that changed the films and all that. So he was always talking to me about films and cinema. But when I told him I wanted, and the funny thing is, I never wanted to be an actor, right? See, I kind of fell into acting.
Okay.
I wanted to be a stuntman.
A stuntman?
A stuntman.
So I've never heard that about you.
Not many people have. But
Stuntman.
I used to love Jackie Chan.
Right.
You know, and I'm not talking about all the Hollywood stuff. I'm talking about the Asian stuff he used to do. You know, he used to do his own stunts. And I thought, you know, I want to do this. You know, I know it's crazy, but back then I was a bit crazy when I was younger. I wanted to throw myself out of buildings. I wanted to jump off roofs. So when I enrolled to get into the stunt game, I met a guy called Grant Page. Now, Grant Page is one of the best, if not the best, stunt guy this country's probably seen, right? He's the one who did Mad Max.
Okay, the original.
Mad Max original.
Yeah.
Every stunt was done by him.
Wow, okay.
Well, that's what he told me anyway.
Yeah.
And he talked me out of it. He said, look, if you want to get into this game, there's not much work here for you. Australia doesn't do a lot of action films. And he was right back then.
Very
You're
limited.
going to have to go to the US. And I never wanted to go to the US. It was something I really didn't want to do, go to the US. So I'd already paid. So I wanted to get my money back, and they wouldn't give me the money back. And they said, look, there's, you know, you can do an acting course. You can just change the money over to that and do an acting course. Or you can do a directing course. And I think there was a writing or producing course, I can't remember. So I said, you know what? Stunt, you got to learn how to act if you're doing stunts, you know. So I thought I'd do the acting, so I did that, and I turned out to be all right at it. So you know, I remember
You'd never acted before.
never acted before, and I think off memory, it went for about 3 or 4 months, and then at the end we had to do a stage theatre, and then there was an agent in the audience at the time, and she came up after the show and said, "Look, have you got an agent?" Mind you, I had no idea what an agent was.
Right.
Man, I'm from Western Sydney. I was like a street kid. She goes, "I want to represent you." So then I signed on with her. And then when I told my dad, now this is going back to my dad, and I told him, "Dad, I know what I want to do." And I think at the time I was in year 12, just finishing year 12.
You would have been about 17, 18.
Yeah. He goes, "What? What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to be an actor." And he burst out laughing.
Really?
Laughing.
Even though he
You think
loved
you're Clint
film
Eastwood?
and everything.
You think you're this, you think you're that? He goes, "No. He goes, "You know what you're going to do? He's going to do a trade."
Right.
So then my dad, and I wanted to be at the time, I said, "Okay, well, what am I going to do? What do I like to do as a trade?" Auto electrician. I thought, cars, some of that. Well, I couldn't find it. So my dad went, you know, and used his, you know, connections.
His wall connections.
And he got me into panel beating.
Right.
So I'm a panel beater by trade.
So you're a panel beater by trade. Okay.
So I ended up doing panel beating, and at nights I'd go do acting courses. And then without my dad knowing that I was doing acting courses, I was doing it, you know, he told him, "I'm not going to do anything until I get the trade. Once I get the trade, I'll do what I want."
But do you feel like when you did that acting course initially, when you decided not to go down the stunt path and do the acting course, like I know you said you were good at it, but was the passion there, or was it like, you know, I'm good at it, I've fallen into this, I'll just kind of pursue it?
It wasn't there. I was hanging around with a lot of bad kids. So when I was younger, I hung around with a lot of bad kids going down the wrong path. And a few things happened that I've mentioned before. You know, one of my mates nearly got killed in an incident where I should have been there with him.
Okay.
And I wasn't there because God didn't want me there. So I wanted to get away from that life. And, you know, when you're hanging around with boys that aren't great, you can't just turn them. So I'm not hanging out with you because then I'll turn on you. So my way out was I was always busy.
Right.
I'm doing acting
Working during the
classes.
day,
And I was
acting at
DJing. I used to be a DJ. A lot of people don't know that. I used to DJ in clubs and everything back in the vinyl days. Yeah.
Didn't know that, yeah.
So anyway, and I remember in 96, I think it was. 96 or 97, I can't remember. I got my first audition.
Was that for Black Rock?
A film called Black Rock.
Yeah.
And they gave me, it's a feature film. I didn't know the hell a feature film was.
Had you done any little gigs?
Nothing. Nothing. This is
So
like...
off the bat, you got an audition for a feature film.
And when I was younger, I had long hair.
Yeah.
And we're Lebos, mate. We're hairy, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I was like, at the time I was 22 or 23, and I had facial hair, had long hair. So I was growing it like, you know, Stallone. Remember Rambo?
Yeah.
So I was going like that. I love that Rambo free look.
You love First Blood, don't you? You've mentioned it a few times. You love Stallone.
I'm a Stallone fan. I'm a huge. I think what Stallone's done is very similar to what I've done, and I kind of, you know, so, you know, he's inspirational.
Yeah.
So I go into this audition, right?
Yeah.
With a really popular guy called Steve Viley, who was a director at the time, and I'm doing this audition, and I'm doing it with another actor. And I'm this kid from bloody Guildford with a chip on his shoulder. Right. You know? Like if someone looked at me wrong, I want to bash them. That type of kid, right? Okay. So I had a bit of anger management issues when I was younger. Right. And I go in, we're doing this scene. So I've gone on, and yeah, because I didn't know much about acting. So I'm looking at the script, I'm learning my lines, but I'm not looking at the action. Right. So the script has your action, what you're supposed to do.
What you're supposed to hit, gestures.
So I'm just reading the lines, I just remember the lines, you know. It's the first time I had to memorise lines, you know. And it wasn't easy. So I'm sitting there, and I was bad at English, so, you know, like as in writing and reading. And I get there, and I'm doing this scene with this actor, and he pushes me during the scene.
Here we go.
Now, I take that Now I'm no longer acting, so I've grabbed him
Right.
and I've shoved him against the wall,
Yep.
and I wanted to belt him. Then the director gets in between us and he's stopping us. He goes, "George, relax, relax, relax.
Yeah.
It's just acting. We're just acting."
Yeah.
I said, "What did he push me for?" He goes, "Oh, it's in the action." So look, I'm going, "Yeah, but why did he push me for?
Why push me?
Why?" You know. Anyway, so I went in. I remember long hair, and I had a goatee at the time, right?
Yeah.
And again, I didn't read the script. I was supposed to be playing a 16-year-old,
Okay.
so I should have shaven.
Should have shaved and.
So I walked out. So I blew this. This is crap. I blew it. You know. And I was still doing Panama at the time.
Yeah.
And back then there was no mobiles.
Yeah.
So 2 days later, I get a phone call at work.
Yeah.
It's my agent.
Mm.
And she goes, "Hey, George, did you nearly assault another actor?" I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "He pushed me."
He pushed me.
No, I'm still arguing, like, as if I'm right? I'm still arguing. She goes, "Anyway, did you also go in with like a goatee?"
Auditioning as a 16-year-old.
You're supposed to be playing a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, I did." She goes, "Okay." She goes, "The director wants to see you again."
Right.
He
Well,
goes, "Yeah,
okay.
again.
Yeah.
But he wants you to shave."
Mm.
So
He
I
wants to
went-
see the look.
So I went in again, and this time we didn't have no actors there, just
Yeah.
me and him.
Yeah.
So he was just acting with me, right?
Yeah.
Did the scene, and as I was walking out, I'll never forget it. And I think this gave me a lot of confidence, right? Because Steve Vidler back then was a really well-respected, director and actor.
Mm.
He turned around and missed me, "Hey, George." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I don't know, but there's something about you." And I knew, like, when I walked out, I knew I kind of had the gig, but I didn't know how big of a film this was, right?
Because it's all new to you.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I got the gig. But I had to get dreadlocks and, so my acting experience, the first week of makeup and wardrobe was a nightmare. I had to sit at Bondi and had to dread my hair. And I think the first day was probably about 8 hours in the chair. And then the second day was about 6 hours. And then when I got to set, we were shooting in Newcastle. All of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh, shit.
This is real.
This is huge.
Yeah, this is real.
This is a huge production."
Big movie.
Heath Ledger,
Yeah.
David Field, Rebecca Smart back then was huge. So there was all these big actors.
Heath Ledger would have been on the come up back then,
Well,
right?
Heath
Was that before or after Two Hands?
No, I think this was just before.
Okay.
Just before. He'd just done a show called Sweat. I actually was good mates with Heath.
Yeah?
Yeah, like we hung out a lot, right?
God rest his soul.
Yeah. And so we, they go, "This is serious. This is huge."
Yeah.
And that's when I fell in love with acting, because I had a small role. It wasn't big, but it was for a first timer. It was a big role.
For someone that never acted before, you're in a
Big role.
feature film with
You know,
Heath
so I had a
Ledger
lot
and
of
David
scenes.
Field. David Field's a legend.
And
in
I'm
his own
watching
right.
all these lead actors, and I want to be that. I want to be Stallone, man. I want to be the lead.
Yeah.
And and that's when, like, I really fell in love with acting, because it's like, when someone, you have this chocolate cake,
Yeah.
they give you a tiny piece,
Yeah.
you taste it.
Yeah, taste.
Nah, man, I want the whole thing,
Yeah.
and I think that was, and I fell in love with it, and from there, it became hard for me. This is when it got really hard, because I was in contact with Heath Ledger. I was in contact with another actor called Brendan Donahue, Jade Gatt from Cheese TV. Remember Cheese?
I remember Cheese
the
TV.
guy in that.
Yeah.
So I was really good, close to them, and we were always, talking. And they were getting auditions. I was never getting an audition. I would always get, "Oh, do you want to do this gig for Australia's Most Wanted? Do you want where you're reenacting?"
So you're racially profiled early
100%.
on. Yeah.
And I didn't want to represent, and I didn't like, all that comedy stuff that they do about the wogs.
Yeah.
People laugh and laugh. I didn't like that. Not that I don't find it funny. I think our people should have more respect than that. If that makes
More than just a laugh.
we're more than just, and a lot of that stuff, people laugh, and that's not who we are. That's not my people.
Yeah.
Like, And that drove me. It really drove me. So when I couldn't get auditions, and I told my agent at the time, I said, why am I not getting in the door so I can show what I can do?
Did your agent tell you back then is because of your
God
background?
rest her soul, she did. She was honest. She was a great agent. She said to me, oh, you know, I'm going to be really honest with you, George. It's the fact that you're ethnic. They don't write stuff for you.
Yeah.
And I understood that. That's out of her hands. So
How'd
I
that make
got
you
that.
feel though?
I'm going to prove these pricks wrong.
Right.
That's the moment where I wrote the combination.
It's a little filing.
So when I remember when I walked out, I said to her, I don't want to be on the books anymore. I wanted to make my own path. I said to her, I don't want to be on the books anymore, but I want you to do one thing for me. And I said to her, she goes, I never forget it. She said, what's that? And I said, remember my name. I said, by the time I'm back, I said, people are going to know who George Basha is. I said, and I'm going to make sure of it.
Yep.
And then I wrote the combination. And the combination was based on my life growing up in Western Sydney.
So that was actually, you wrote it because I was going to ask you, where did the inspiration for the combination
My
come
life.
from? So it was actually
So it
your
wasn't
life.
just my life, my friends' lives, and we put them all into one.
Was it like a true story essentially, or you just kind of took?
Well, no, there's a lot of true stuff. Like, you know,
Yeah.
the part where, you know, most characters gets petrol poured on him. My friend actually got lit up.
Oh wow!
I didn't go that far in the film.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff that was based on my life that I've experienced. And that's why when a lot of people watched it, they felt the realism of it because they could relate to it because it's real.
I mean, even for me back then, it felt real.
You know,
because I mean, growing up being a Lebanese background myself,
You know, and then you would have also juggled with the fact: are you Australian? Are you Lebanese?
Yeah.
We're born here,
Yeah.
but our parents are Lebanese with a strong culture.
Yep.
That's instilled in us, and then you're in that world where you're fighting: am I Australian or am I Lebanese? What am I?
I won't lie to you. Like
Yeah.
growing up myself, like I went through a period where I kind of refrained from saying I was Lebanese.
Yeah.
You know, not that I was ashamed of being Lebanese, but it's like you're saying, like we were always racially profiled.
I think the problem too, like especially these days, I think look, I'm an Australian, all right. I'm a proud Australian, and I'm also my background's Lebanese, and I'm proud Lebanese. I'm proud of my heritage, you know. But first and foremost, we are Australian. We're going to live, we're going to die in this country.
100%.
And I think what really kind of annoys me is when you see kids that are born here and they say, no, I'm not Australian, I'm this, I'm that. No, you're not, mate, because look at your passport, you're an Australian.
But do you feel like they feel that way because of the way they've been treated?
It could be, 100% it could be, but if we let them get away with that and we keep saying we're Lebanese, then...
Let who get away with it? The kids?
No, not the kids.
Okay.
The racists that
yeah.
want us to say that we're Lebanese or that we're Italian or that we're Greek.
So they're winning, essentially.
100% they are.
Yeah.
But if you say, no, I'm Australian, you know, and you look them dead in the eye,
Yeah.
because that's what we are. Essentially, we are Australian.
Yeah, born and raised, yeah.
You know, we're born and bred, and this is our country. You know, when I go to Lebanon, and I love Lebanon,
They tell you you're Australian.
100%.
Yeah.
And do you get it?
Yeah, the same.
100%.
What are you doing here? You're
So,
Australian.
like, no, and there's a great thing that, you know, I go back to my father, right? You know, my father was a taxi driver for a long time.
Yeah.
And he picked up once these young kids in their 20s, white kids. And I said to my dad, they said, oh, what country are you from? My dad goes, I'm Australian.
Yeah.
With a thick accent. My dad's got the thickest accent. But my dad is as Aussie as you get, right?
Right.
He'll sit and watch the cricket 5 days, no problem.
Okay.
So he's one of those...
True blue.
But he's got the Waggy accent. And then the kid goes to him, oh, yeah, but where you from? My dad goes, I'm from Australia. And he goes, oh, but your accent. My dad turned around to the kid, he goes, mate, how old are you?
Yeah.
The kid was like 24, 25.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, 24. And my dad looked at him and goes, mate, I've been in this country
Longer than you
before you were born. And he's so right?
Yep.
And I go back to that. I think when a kid says, if you're born here and you're saying, oh, no, I'm from this country, you're giving them fuel to say, look at this. He's racist. Not me. He's racist.
Yeah, this country's giving him everything. And
That's right. And this country has given us everything.
Yeah.
And we should be proud of this country.
Yeah.
Because just, you know, I'll get on a rooftop and say, I am Australian.
Yeah.
And I'll shout it out.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
You know? But I'm also proud of my Lebanese heritage. You know? But yeah, so so when I wrote the combination, going back to the combination now,
Yep. That was based on your life and your upbringing,
that's
essentially.
right.
Yeah.
And I wasn't supposed to play the lead.
Really? So you didn't write that for yourself?
I did and I didn't because I was afraid of letting the film down with my acting. So like it was, you know, it was. I was going to play Ibo.
You were going to play Ibo?
I was going to play Ibo.
Right.
So David Field, who was the director, and me and him worked on that film for a long time, right, years and years.
He's a legend, David
He's
Field.
a champion.
Yeah.
Right? Probably wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for him. Okay.
Thank you, David Field.
Yeah, David Field, the champion, great actor, one of the greatest.
Oh, he's a
actors,
legend.
and he's a
I
great director,
loved
and
him.
he's a great human being.
I loved him in Two Hands. You know,
Mate,
when
if you meet him
that's
in
when
real
I
life,
first.
He's a great person.
That's the first time I seen a movie with David Field.
Yeah.
When I watched Two Hands for the first time, and I was like blown away by his acting. Like he's
a great
unbelievable.
actor. And I think with David Field, right, he plays the meanest characters.
Yeah,
He wouldn't hurt a fly.
but he's the nicest guy,
Nicest
right?
guy. Yeah. It's amazing how the real nice guys can play the real bad bastards, right? And they do it really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he directed it and he let me control what the Lebanese household and family looks like. Because he doesn't know it. He's an Australian,
He's
right?
Australian, yeah.
But I brought him into the world a year or two before he started shooting, so he understood everything.
He got
The
immersed
culture.
into it. Like,
He
yeah,
immersed and he loved it, and he threw himself into it.
yeah,
Right? So, you know, but the thing is, with the combination, when I said to David at the time, I said, I don't want to play the lead because I don't want to ruin the film. Because, you know, we're working 8 years on this film. Finally, we got the money to make it. I don't want to ruin it. You know, yeah, I've done Black Rock, I've done a few little other things, but wasn't sure. As much as I wanted to be the lead, and it was always my dream to be a lead,
yeah.
there was always
There
that
was a lot
fear
more
factor.
writing on it.
And because it's you wrote it, your
Your
film.
project, yeah.
It's like, I don't want to be the one that stuff it. Then I remember at the time, Dave flew out, we flew out an actor called Daniel Imam. And at the time, Daniel Imam was a pretty big actor in this country. He was doing, I think he did a film called, did this boxing film, was big, he was doing a couple of TV shows, it was big.
Yep.
But he wasn't Lebanese, right? But he was ethnic.
Yeah.
And they brought him out. I was in the room, what happened. I don't know what happened, but I remember getting a phone call from Dave. They said to me, I want you to come in and I want you to do test for John. And I was hesitant. I said, not sure if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to play that role. They go, look, we just want to have a look at you, that's all. Just come in and just sit in the chair, do the role.
Won't hurt.
Producer was there, a couple of other people were there. Sat there, did a couple of scenes. And I can't remember which one it was. Someone said, that's him. He has to play the role. It's him. You're not going to find anyone. It's him. So then Dave goes, Dave's like that. He goes, you're playing John. I said, no, but shut up. You're playing John.
I mean, the producer
He goes,
said
I've got you.
yeah.
He goes, I'll make sure I protect you.
Yeah.
I'm directing you.
Yeah.
He goes, just trust me.
Put your faith in me.
And from there, yeah, and then ended up doing it, and yeah, and he did. He protected me. He did everything for me except for the boxing scene. He went off at me.
Yeah.
The boxing scene. I copped
Yeah.
the black eye. So in that film,
Yeah.
the combination,
Yeah.
part one, a lot of times in that film I had a black eye and had to cover up with makeup.
Yeah?
Because films aren't shot in order.
Of course, yeah.
So,
I know that.
So
yeah.
I remember we shot the boxing scene, and
Yeah.
I was sparring with Tony Weeby. Now,
Yeah.
Tony Weeby back then was, I think, number 2 WBA.
Yeah.
Like he was like number 2.
He was a serious boxer.
He was,
Yeah.
And we had this stunt coordinator, and he was going for this dance and did this, throw that, move that, and I'm thinking, nah, man.
It needs to be real.
No. Like, I grew up on Rocky, man. I ain't doing that shit.
It needs to be real.
You know? So I said to Tony at the time, Tony, I said, let's just spar.
Yeah.
And I said, Dave, record it. You're going to get real shit.
Yeah. What's the worst that can
And
happen?
then Dave
right?
goes, but you have to wear a headgear. And Tony wasn't wearing a headgear. I said, man, I'm not wearing a headgear. I'm the lead. Why would I wear a headgear? He's not wearing a headgear.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. Doesn't make
So I
sense.
didn't wear a headgear.
Right.
And what happens? Tony catches me with his head,
Yeah.
and I can't see out of my eye.
Oh, no.
Like he caught me with this. And I was so angry. Like when he hit me, it actually rattled me, right?
Yeah.
So and I was so angry, and I just wanted to go another
So
round.
that boxing scene's all real.
Mate, some of the hits are real,
Yeah.
right? My eye just went like that. And then all I can remember, I was dazed. I can remember Dave's voice.
Screaming at you.
Get his effing eye down. I don't give a shit. I told him to wear headgear. He's an idiot. He should have worn headgear. He's an idiot. You know? And then I got my eye down. But then we had to go another round. And all I'm thinking is, I'm going to get this prick back.
So you're not even acting anymore. You're like you're in a boxing
if you see
match.
the film, there's one in the film. Where I catch him.
Yeah.
Real hit.
Yeah.
I I loaded it up and I just went crack. And I remember Tony goes, does George know we're only acting?
Yeah.
And this is like, Tony would kick my ass. Like, you know, he's a real boxer.
Yeah.
He's going, does he know? He could see my eyes. I was just like ready to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, black eye. The whole movie, I was getting
Makeup done.
Makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you go about financing a movie? Like, because you wrote the movie, so what's the process of like
That was
finding-
hard.
yeah.
Combination one was very hard because it was independently made.
Yeah.
We went to Screen Australia and all that, and they
Knocked it back.
They knocked it back. So it took us 8 years, man, to find money, and you know we did a lot of things. We did a lot of functions. We did a function where we invited a lot of Lebanese. I know, you know, a lot of Lebanese building companies and the banks and all that, trying to get money off them.
Raising money.
Yeah, and we spent thousands of dollars, not a cent, man. And the funny thing is, we ended up getting the money off one guy who was an Australian.
Funded the whole project?
Whole project.
Really?
Yeah, whole project.
Was he in the film industry at the
No,
time? No? Okay.
The producer that was on ours, good mate of him at school, was
Yep.
really well off.
Yep.
Came in and funded our project. When I met him, I'm looking at him, the way he's dressed, thongs, typical, you know, Australian, down to earth.
Where'd this guy get the money
This
from?
guy's listening in my pocket. He hasn't got the money. And then, mate, he ended up having the money, and we ended up making the film. But you know, now I raise funds myself, and you know, it's hard. You just meet people that that want to invest and want to sponsor.
It's essentially like investing into like a business or something.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
People
yeah, that's
invest
right.
money.
But I don't
then-
go for big lump sums like I used to. I get like 10 people and little sums, and that kind of gets me over the line, you know.
Yeah.
You know?
What's it cost to like produce a movie these
It
days?
depends, man. Like
Yeah.
you can't put a figure on it because by the time you've shot it, by the time you've gone to post, and your music post and all that kind of stuff, it can blow.
Yeah.
So it depends.
The combination was pulled out of a few cinemas back then.
Yeah, Paul, we were the number one film in Australia. So
I remember.
we were an independent films, all right. So we had no government backing.
Yep.
So we opened up in the cinemas and we were smashing it. Like it was like off the charts.
It was a massive
Look,
hit.
honestly, I can't remember another Aussie film,
Yeah.
independent Aussie film, that was doing the ticket sales we were doing.
It blew up in this community as well. Ali Hayder.
That's right, yeah.
We went to school with him.
And I felt sorry for Ali.
Yeah,
because
it blew up.
Because the problem, and this is the problem you have with media, you know, and till this day, it still irks me, right? When the film was made, they called it a Lebanese Australian film. It's an Australian film.
It's an Australian film.
Australian crew, Australian actors.
Yeah.
Never a Lebanese Australian film.
So they tried to profile it immediately.
Of course, they profiled it straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Then they called it this gang film. It was never a gang film. I wrote the film.
Because there was a bit of backlash about it.
Yeah, it wasn't a gang film.
Yeah.
These are young kids. They weren't gangs, all right? And the movie's actually a love story.
Yeah.
John's character falls in love with that white girl.
That's right.
It's a love story with all the stuff that happens, that bubbles on the edges, right? So the media then get a hold of Ali Hayder, all right? And he had a record.
Man, they dragged him
And,
through the
and
mud.
it was a nothing record. It was like an assault or something, right? It was
Minor.
nothing.
It was minor.
And he was a minor kid.
It was young.
He was young. That's
'Cause,
exactly right.
Yeah, we were kids.
And then they started going on about that, right?
Yeah.
Then we shot a scene, the big Dupke scene,
Yes.
in a place back then it was called Beirut by Night.
Yep.
And there happened to, a few weeks after we shot, there happened to be a stabbing or a fight in that. They linked that to the film.
To the film.
Nothing to do with the film, right? So any chance they got, they kept hammering away at this film.
Yeah.
And then I remember one time we were doing an interview of I can't remember what show it was, I had some of the young kids, and they were doing an interview with them, and one of the kids calls me. I was in Brisbane at the time promoting the film, and he calls me. He says to me, George, I'm doing this interview, but they want to give me a knife, and then they want to ask us if we carry knives, and they want us to pull it out.
Okay.
I said, put him on. I said, mate, the interview's over. I said, don't go planting knives on my cast, mate.
Yeah.
I said, these kids don't walk around the streets with knives. So they're trying to, so every chance they got, they were trying to make the film more about gang and violence and all that, right?
As opposed to what the real story was,
Yeah.
you know, it's about...
And here's the kicker, right? See the racism, the Cronulla riots and all that?
Yep.
I had that written already in the script before that happened.
Really?
Without the riots, we added the riots, but the racism stuff was always there. Was always there.
Because you're writing off your personal experiences growing up.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, and then you had other people that were trying to say to me, "Oh, but you know, we're not that racist, and you know, you've overblown the racism in it." And I remember one time in I think it was Brisbane or Melbourne, I can't remember. One of the radios, their stations, you know, and these guys were having a crack at me.
Yeah.
And you know, you go there with your publicist. So you have a publicist that tells you what to say. They train
What to
you
say,
what
what not to say, and don't get yourself in trouble.
So I was always told that whenever they brought racism up or anything like that, change the subject, and this is how you do it.
Yeah.
George Basha being George Basha, I can't bite my tongue,
Right.
Especially when you're getting attacked. And I remember this guy saying to me, "Oh, you know, you over exaggerated the racism. You know, Australia's not like that."
As in, you over-exaggerated in the film?
Yeah. So I just said to him, "Oh, really? Okay." And I looked at my publicist, and she was shaking her head. That means that was a signal for me to
Change the subject.
I said, "No." I said, "Stop shaking your head." I went back to him. I said, and he knew I was serious. Now he was trying to change the subject.
Yeah.
I said, "No, let's stay on this subject. Let's talk about the Cronulla riots."
Yep.
I said, "You guys," he said, "What do you mean, you guys?" I said, "Well, the media, alcohol fueled." I said, "Do you drink?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I drink." I said, "I love my drink." I said, "What do you drink?" He goes, "Oh, I like my beers." And so I like a bourbon, a whiskey. I said, "You know the good thing about when you drink?" I said, "Well, me anyway." I say what's really on my mind. I said, "You want to talk about racism? Let's talk about the Aboriginal people." You know, they went and fought a war with the white man, and they came back in this country. They couldn't use the same pub, same toilet. That wasn't that long ago. No, he didn't know what to say.
Yep.
You know, so now all that racism stuff I put in the film was put based on my life.
Yep.
It was before the Cronulla riots happened.
It's all real. It's all legit.
All we did as filmmakers is we just added the Cronulla riots into the show.
Yeah.
You know, because this is what I grew up with. Yeah, and I'll be clear about something too, man. Racism, because when I put racism in the film, it doesn't just work one way.
Yep.
So it's not just the white person that's going to be racist against a WOG or an ethnic. It's also the other way. There are Lebanese and ethnics that are racist the opposite way.
Oh, there's heaps. Yeah, it goes both ways. Yeah.
100%. You know? But yeah, so the film came out.
Yep.
I get a phone call saying, "You're the #1 film in Australia." Opening weekend.
Firstly, how did that make you feel? Because you've spent like almost a decade on this thing.
8 years.
Yeah.
8 years. So imagine you get a phone call saying, "This is, you know, we were over the moon." Like we were compared to Batman Begins box office.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Wow.
So we didn't have as much screens as Batman.
Yeah.
But the screens we had, our box office takes were compared to that.
That's crazy.
It was by the Daily Telegraph compared it, right?
Yeah.
And the film what came out was getting, you know, 4.5 out of 5 reviews.
It was huge.
Reviews.
It was a
So
great.
It wasn't just.
It was a great movie.
It wasn't
great
just
film.
the ethnics that loved it, right? It was really good. And then a few hours later, I get a call saying it's going to get pulled from the cinemas. Apparently, there was a fight in Parramatta, and back then, events used to be Greater Union.
Yes.
So I said, okay, got this meeting. I was devastated. Like, you know, all my hard work now is gone.
So they're basically blaming everything. Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
attracting Middle Eastern people to watch the movie. They're causing dramas.
The reality is, mate, they couldn't handle that many Lebanese and ethnics
Yeah.
in one place.
Yeah.
You know, because I remember I went to Parramatta once and you couldn't get a ticket. Every session was sold out.
Yeah.
All right, and I'd never seen so many bloody ethnic people in the cinemas in my life. It was that packed.
I mean, the oldies were going
Mate,
to watch
even
it.
Greater Union, they had the combination pack. You've never seen it, right?
Yeah.
So then I remember meeting up with my distributor back then, or not the distributor, the sales agent distributor, yeah. And me and David Field wanted to know why they pulled this film.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a fight in Greater Union and this and that. And I said, okay. And there wasn't a fight because I made some calls and I spoke to a cop that rocked up at the time. It was a guy smoking at the front.
Okay.
And the security guy comes out, tells me to turn it off, had a few words, blah, 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 blah. That's all it was.
They're just looking for anything.
So I remember when the meeting, I said to him at the time, I said, mate, if this was Hugh Jackman, Nicole Kidman, would they have pulled the film?
Yeah. No chance.
No chance, right? So anyway, back and forth. And I was also, I'm pretty sure my distributor had something to do with pulling the film because they should have stood staunch and told Greater Union, no, you're not pulling it.
Yeah.
I think they thought if they pulled the film, it would create more. That's what I think they did, right?
Like more hype.
More hype. But we didn't need the more hype. We were the number
It
one
was
film
already
in the
number
country.
one. Yeah.
So
It gives her that gangster feel that we had to pull it. It was so bad,
right.
and now everyone wants to watch it. And it creates demand. And
you know, my thing with the Greater Union was, mate, you're making a lot of money. You're charging people for popcorn and drinks and the cinema.
and everything's sold
It's
out.
your job to protect your patrons, not my film's job to protect the patrons. It's your job. So anyway, they came back after a few days. They said, look, we'll put it back in on one condition. You have to go into the cinema and speak to the audience before every screening at Parramatta so they don't cause any trouble
For every screening.
in Parramatta.
Wow.
And we had to pay for security guards.
Like the production team behind the movie
Yes.
had to pay for the Greater Union security.
You ever heard that in Australian history, mate?
No, that's crazy.
Never. I don't think it's ever
Yeah.
done in cinema history in Australia.
That's crazy.
So anyway, so I did that. Part of the agreement, I said, okay, so I'd go in, say, hi, I'm George Basha, the writer of the film and the star of the film. Please respect everyone around you, enjoy the film. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
It was belittling. They should be proud of this film. I'm there, saying that crap.
It's almost like go tell your people to keep it calm.
And then you walk out,
Yeah.
and then there's security guards and police at the door of the cinema. Killed the film. So
Kills the whole
people
vibe.
kept going,
Yeah.
but people were scared to go. I met a lot of people that were scared to go because the news was on
The
Sunrise,
media-
on
the
Channel
media
7,
killed
Channel
it,
9,
yeah.
Channel 10, the newspapers. It's just like security is there. Mate, you're not taking your kids anymore. You're not going to go.
No.
It becomes a worry.
Yeah.
So they killed the film. I mean, it still did decent, but it should have done a lot more. So it went like had its ups and downs, man. Had ups and downs.
You came back like a decade later and did Combination 2. So
I
after
did Convict before that.
I know, yeah, but so let's talk about Convict.
Yep.
So you did Convict after the Combination.
So Convict I did shot in 2013, released in 2014.
So after everything you experienced with the Combination, was there a part of you that thought, like, screw this? Like, these guys, no matter what I do, they're going to try and kill it?
No,
No?
let them win.
Yeah?
I'm gonna come back and just be in their faces all the time.
Motivated you even more?
100%.
Yeah.
And I love telling stories. I love acting.
Where did the story for Convict come from? Because that was another great film.
Man, I'm a Stallone fan, right?
Yeah.
So when I looked in Australia and I thought they don't make prison films. They had Chopper. But I think I'm not sure if Chopper came out before or after me. I think maybe after, but they hadn't done a prison film for ages.
Yeah.
And
The Chopper itself wasn't a prison film, essentially.
yeah.
There was a few scenes,
Right.
but yeah.
I don't think Australia. I remember years ago, David Field was in a couple of prison films, but there hadn't been a prison film for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I thought, and I've always had this story in my mind, this thought that if you're a good person and you make a mistake in life and you get given time, does jail change you? Do you come out
Different person.
different person, or do you fight the system and come out the same person,
Yeah.
or a better person?
Yeah.
So that was the thing behind Convict.
That was the motivation behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So an innocent man that goes in, and they all want to turn him and change him. Does he become an animal? Does he bite back? And now I thought, if you put in an SAS soldier who's very disciplined
Yeah.
and very well trained, does it impact him?
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing behind Convict, and I wanted to really go, I wanted to go more gory, but, there's a lot of swearing in it. So I remember I remember one time we were in Western Australia, we had a premiere for it, and I was with David Field, because me and Dave co-directed that.
Yeah.
And the cinema was packed, right?
Yeah.
So because by the time, you guys watch it, I've seen the film 50 times.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm like over watching it,
Yeah.
right? So Dave, let's go out for a cigarette. I don't smoke, Dave smokes. So
Yeah.
walking out, and this lady just storms out of the cinema, right?
Yeah.
Old lady. She says, that's disgusting, all the swearing words in that.
Really?
And Dave's there smoking. And Dave looks at her and goes to her, what do you expect, a Disney film, darling? It's a prison movie.
It's a prison movie. Yeah.
And, mate, and she just in the look she gave him.
Yeah.
And she just stormed off.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, and I think another reason why I did Convict was I remember there was a critic that kind of attacked my acting. So he said, and I'll never forget this because, this helped me a lot with my acting. He said, yes, George Basha in the combination would make a fantastic action star. But I didn't believe his emotional love scenes. And that triggered me, right?
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, in a way like, I want to prove this guy
It
right.
motivated you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up, with Convict, there's a lot of emotional scenes. There's a lot of scenes where, like, and then when I did that, same critic came back and goes, wow.
Yeah.
He nailed the emotional
Proved
scenes.
him wrong.
Yeah, but that sometimes you need that kick.
He
in
gave
the
you
butt.
that motivation.
Yeah, sometimes when you get a critic saying something about you, you don't take it to heart. Say, stuff him. Sometimes they're right.
Yeah.
And I look back at the combination, and that was my first lead. And yeah, there are moments I would have done different if I was doing it now. But as an actor, you're always learning. Every film I've done till now, I always look back and go, I should have done this differently. I didn't quite hit it there.
Yeah.
It's the game. And
Because you're constantly growing as a person.
And if you want to improve, you've got to be willing to take the critics.
Yeah.
You got to get the critique. That's part of it. They're not always right.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're right.
Yeah.
And you've got to be willing to take it. It's part of the game.
Yeah. How did you go about finding all the actors? All the actors and the extras. Because in Convict, there was a lot of boys that I knew. That were in the background, and Big Mo and all those boys. And so, what was the process like to finding all these boys to?
Buddy, here's Western Sydney. They're everywhere.
Was that pretty much it? Like, let's just grab boys from the area?
So there were some real heavy hitters in there. Some guys that had done time.
Yeah.
And I wanted some real people that had done time.
So you wanted like you wanted to be authentic,
100%.
like real,
because the reality is
because they're not all actors, right? So they've all done. Some of them had done time.
No, some have done time. Some have done heavy time.
Yeah.
Some of them are really bad boys. It doesn't matter how good of an actor you are. When you've really done time and you've really been there, you walk, you talk, you move different in the yard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can train an actor a million times.
It's not the same.
But I wanted that realism.
What was it like for those boys coming back to like a
cool.
yard, like a set, it's like a yard?
Cool. But I remember because we had a lot of extras, right, especially in the yard.
Yeah.
And I remember Brian Ellison, God rest his soul. You know, the screw, the beard screw, the real
Yep.
badass.
Yep.
He passed away not long ago. Champion guy. And he was, I said to him at the time, because sometimes he can come across rude.
Okay.
You know, he talks. He doesn't mean it, but he can come across
Just
rude.
the way he talks.
Yeah. I said to him at the time, I said, listen, Brian. I said, I need you to do me one favour on this shoot.
Yeah.
I said, any issues of any of these boys, I talk to them.
Leave them to
Not
me.
you. Do not say anything to them because, mate, they will stab you. They will shoot you.
Yeah.
These guys aren't actors. All right? They're doing this for me.
They're legit.
So, and I remember at the time, I was with Dave. I can't remember what we were doing. We were planning a scene. Producer runs in. George, we've got a problem. Well, they've turned on Brian. So what do you mean? He said something. He said something to me, swore at him. And I went out. Oh, I want to kill him. I said, boys, relax. I'll deal with it. I got Brian. So I said, Brian, piss off.
Yep.
Mate,
Just leave it to me.
stay with me. Come with me. You, Charlie, I know Charlie.
Yeah.
Said, you look after him.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, sorry, boys. Okay, no, it's all right, man. Lucky he knows you, otherwise we would have, buried him,
Yeah.
Just relax. It's the way he is. He's not being rude. It's the way he is.
Yep.
So I had to pull him away. So sometimes you got to be careful, right? But yeah, no, man, they came out. They gave me their time. They, champions, and they weren't paid for it. And a lot of these guys came out and they didn't get paid for it.
Awesome.
They came out and helped out. And a lot of the times I make films now. If it wasn't for the community and the friends, and I wouldn't be able to.
Community's been a big part of
100%.
all
The
your
community,
films.
friends,
Yeah.
people I know have always helped me some way or the other. You know, some have invested, some have given me their houses, some have given me their offices, some have, whatever.
Yeah.
And the council, as well, sometimes helps me out.
Yep.
So without that help, I can't make the films I make.
Yeah. So after everything you copped with the combination, like what made you want to do part 2? Was it to prove
I
it
didn't
wrong
want to make
again?
part 2.
Or?
I didn't want to make part 2. I remember I was sitting down one time and I was watching the news and I thought, wow, the world has changed now. From when you made the combination 1 to combination 2, the world's changed. Combination 1,
10 years, a whole decade.
You couldn't say you were a racist.
Yeah.
Now you can.
Yeah.
I can tell you I'm a racist. What are you going to do about it? Free speech, mate.
Yep.
Okay? I thought, it's interesting, right? And I thought, what else is really interesting is the character of John and Sydney in part 1. White girl, Lebanese Australian. Cultures clashing. What if it's the same culture, different religion?
Okay.
It's even harder. Even harder. Religions is even harder.
Even harder.
And it will make for interesting viewing.
Right.
And at the time there was a lot of thing going on about whenever they seen a machine gun in someone that was bearded, he was Muslim. I thought, what if I get a white person, beard him up and put a gun in his hand? Do people look at him the same way they do as the Arabs? Now all that stuff started coming in my head before I started writing. It's really interesting, right? And then I had something. I always said if I ever made combination 2, there would be something I want to say.
Yeah.
And there was. And then the combination 2 come to life. So then we decided to go down that track. But there were a few things that we had to change in regards. I was going to bring Ali Hayder back.
I wondered about that.
I was going to bring him
I
back.
heard that you were going to bring him back. Yeah.
I was, but he was no longer acting.
Yeah.
I was going to bring back the mother.
Yep.
But a few things didn't fall into place, So then, but the most important character I really wanted to bring back was Mo. Because in part 1, he was a little girl, chicken, scared.
Yep.
And then in part 2, he's no longer that kid anymore now.
He's a man.
All that stuff he's seen now has actually...
Yeah.
He's actually crazy now.
Yeah.
And Ibo is no longer anybody. So we killed Ibo off in the pool.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now this guy is even bigger.
Yeah.
The world's changed.
Yeah.
And I thought, and that's how combination 2 came about.
How'd you get George Basha onto that one?
Well, originally it was supposed to be Billy Dibb.
Okay.
Billy Dibb was originally the guy that was supposed to play.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. And then things happen. Billy was going to do it.
Yeah.
Then things happened and Billy got busy, and he couldn't do it. So then I had to, someone told me, a friend of mine goes, there's this new boxer coming up and coming, George Basha. So send me pics of him. His name was the Kid. So I want someone looked young.
Yeah.
I looked at, he was young, perfect.
Had the look too.
So I met him. I met George. I met his dad. So, and they didn't want to interfere with his training. I said, no, I don't want to interfere with his training. And George was great to work with, man. Like, we rehearsed together a lot, and he's a fantastic fighter. And he moves really good. So he ended up jumping on board instead of Billy because Billy got busy and couldn't do it.
That wasn't a sparring match, was it?
We sparred, but he held back on me a bit, man.
You're older,
I was older than the tooth, man. I can't see the punches as good as I used to, But there was a few times he hit me, and I wanted him to hit me.
Yeah.
But he didn't hit me with everything, but he hit me with enough to sell the hit. It was really fun with George, man. We had a ball. And he's fit as hell, that kid. So.
What do you think of the state of Australian film today? Like, do you feel like it's progressed at all? Do you feel like... I feel like there hasn't been as much coming out of Australia in recent years.
I think TV has a bit. I think film...
TV is, yeah.
For me, the film... The problem with film for me is if you're making a film... Let's say Western Sydney, right? You're making a film about... Let's say you're making the combination.
Yeah.
I think this day of age, you should have somebody that's directing it that knows that world, that is that world. When I did it, I got David Phil to do it because didn't know any other Arab directors or Lebanese directors back then. If I was to do the combination one again now, I would direct it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I think the problem is they want to make all these shows, but then they put the wrong people in charge. And then you watch it and you go, doesn't make sense.
Well, it's similar to The Last King of the Cross, John Ibrahim's, the one they just did recently.
Yeah.
Wasn't he part of directing it as well? He was on set. He was
He did, but there's stuff in that. There's stuff in that you can pick. Like when, for example, the Ibrahims when they talk in that show, that's not Lebanese.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen
they
it.
have an accent.
I haven't seen it,
It's
but
not really
I remember him
Lebanese.
promoting it heavily, like he was involved.
It didn't sound.
Because I know one of the actors in it, Matus, he played Benny. So
I know a lot of the actors in it.
Yeah.
A lot of the actors. I've acted with some of the actors that are in it.
Yeah.
It's a great show. But I think when you're doing stuff, especially based on ethnicities, you've got to have the right team.
Has to be authentic.
It has to be, and you've got to pick on the littlest thing. Because this thing, when I did the combination, I picked on the littlest thing.
So you feel it wasn't like completely authentic?
I haven't seen a show that's been made that's as authentic as what I've done with the combination. That's the truth, man.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Because I'm very fussy about, if I see a little picture on the wall and it's not right, it's coming off.
But even me watching the combination back then, like the scenes where they're inside the house and mum and dad, and it's like...
Can you pick anything that's not authentic?
It felt like an actual...
Even the dubki, the party, can you pick anything that's
It was all legit. Yeah, it was all authentic. Yeah.
And we were really, really big on that.
Yeah.
Because I also wanted to bring the not Lebanese crowd into our culture.
Do you have to be careful though, because like you're trying to make it as authentic as possible, but at the same time, like this could potentially be for a global audience. Do you...
Does Martin Scorsese do it with the Italians? Do Goodfellas?
No.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
You're bringing an audience into a world that they don't know. So the whole purpose when I did the combination, and I knew the Lebanese are going to watch it. I knew the Arabs are going to watch it. I knew a lot of Latinos are going to watch it. But how do I get the white Australians
to watch it,
the Irish, the Chinese to watch it? How do I bring them into my world and show them the authenticity of this world?
Yep.
You know how many people I've met, they go, wow, that's in Western Sydney? People from the north, they've never been to the west.
It's like a whole other country.
They hear crap and they're scared, they think they're going to get killed.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's like a whole other country.
I want to go to the Western Sydney, man. It's dangerous. What are you talking about? It's dangerous, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you talking about? You know,
That's just media, though. Media
that's what I'm
and,
saying
and
to you.
propaganda.
So
and,
the whole point is when you're making a film, if you're doing something about a certain ethnicity, it doesn't matter what it might be, you want to bring the audience into that world.
yeah.
And you've got to be authentic as possible.
Mm.
You know, like, even with the kissing, all that stuff, that's all we do.
Yeah, it's culture, right?
100%.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what you've got to do when you're making these kind of shows. And sometimes when you're making those shows and you've hired a white person that's never been in that ethnicity or in that world to direct it, they're going to get so much wrong. They're going to get so much wrong. You know, it's like me, if you told me to go direct, you know, something in, you know, a white film about the white culture, wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah. I get you.
I'd have a few little ideas, but then I'd be hiring people, but I wouldn't have a clue. It's like, you know, when Dave did The Combination, I brought him into my house. I took him when I went with friends, I took him to parties, took him to Lebanese restaurants to show him this is the way we are.
So as you said earlier, you wanted to immerse him completely in your world,
You
so you
got
kind
to.
of got it, yeah.
You've got to understand that world. And Dave understood that world because he spent 8 years in that world. 8 years is a long time, man.
It's a long, yeah.
You know,
It's
like
enough
he
to
was
change
part of the
it.
furniture, mate. You know, he became part of the furniture. You know, and he knew that world really well.
Yeah. Moving on from that, hostile forces.
Yes.
So that was, at that point, I feel like you've taken a completely different route. Like you've gone from like combination, Lebanese, Australian, convict, in a prison, all that sort of stuff. It's still kind of stereotyped. Combination 2, now you've done hostile forces. Complete different genre. It's like left field, action in the bush, all that sort of stuff. So where did that come from?
Okay.
Because that's not typical George Basha.
No, there's a couple of things, right? Yeah. I love action, you know. Action sells. And, you know, when I made the combination Redemption, this COVID hit, myself, investors lost money because of COVID.
Yep.
So we were trying to sell it. We did okay here.
Yep.
But we had a couple of sales lined up overseas, and then COVID hit, everything closed up. So and COVID went for a while, a couple of years I think it was, right?
I know all about that.
When we opened back up and we tried to go back to those sales,
Yeah.
they no longer wanted them now. It's an old film.
Yep.
And if they wanted, they didn't want to pay us much for it. And it was hard to sell it internationally because it was combination. The combinations are very Australian films.
Yeah.
You know, Australians get that more than the Americans will, or the Poms will, or around the world will.
Yep.
Where Convict's actually my biggest international film out of all the films I've made. Mm-hmm. Convict is huge. I'm talking about over 50 million views internationally, right? Wow. Huge. And that's because it's a universal story. It's a prison film, very easy.
Prison film.
So when I made Hostile Forces, I was really pissed off with the Australian industry. I didn't make Hostile Forces for the Australian industry.
Right.
I made it for the international industry.
Full-blown action
because
film.
the problem with the Australian industry in this country, they do not respect their filmmakers as much as they should, especially the independent filmmakers. So when we did Hostile Forces, mate, I sold it in the US.
Was that always the plan?
Always the plan.
Yeah.
And I had
So
had 3 or 4 companies fighting over it, and they were big companies.
Yeah.
So we ended up going with sales agent Myriad and Saban Films took the film on.
Yeah.
Into North America, Mexico, Canada, took it on.
So you come like full circle here because like at the start you said you didn't really want to do America. You know?
Well, I don't want to go live in America.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to. You know,
But I mean, even like your first few films, it was all Australian.
yeah, but we knew kind of combination was always an Australian film.
Yeah.
Convict is in America. It's in Amazon Prime. It's been there for years.
Yeah.
But like for me, I was just pissed off. You know, in Australia here, they don't want to. No, they don't give you the recognition. They don't want to pay you for your hard work, and sometimes they don't want to look at your project.
Yeah.
And you think, mate, hey moron, we're Australian. You should be supporting us.
Yeah.
But they'll support some C grade or B grade film that comes out from overseas.
Of course.
But they don't support their own filmmakers in this country. You know, then all your bodies, your movie bodies, they constantly say, oh yeah, we support new filmmakers, support this. They don't support anybody, mate.
I feel like it's like that with a lot of industries in Australia though. It's just something about like supporting Aussies. It's just not. You know, people, Aussies will support Americans well before they support like an Australian
Well,
brand.
even the cinemas here, like when I did the combination redemption, right? We opened up in about 56 screens around Australia. It was big opening. When I was touring, I'd go into the cinemas. They wouldn't have our posters up because every cinema gets sent a poster.
Yeah.
But they'd have an American film that's going to show in 2 months up. And I was like, mate, where's our poster?
And here there's an Australian
Oh, it's in the
film.
office. What do you mean? You should have it up here, mate.
Yeah.
This is what they do to Australian
That
films.
was an epic poster too, you know, the
This is what they
combination
do.
poster.
So they make it very hard for Australian films to do well in this country.
Why do you think that is?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. I think we're...
Because it's not just your films, it's Australian
All
films
Aussie
in general.
films in general.
Yeah.
But this is the problem. Like, if I make a film and I want to go on Channel 9, Channel 7, they won't look at you. But if somebody like, let's say, Van Damme comes out, oh, he's on TV straight away for him.
Yeah.
Right? Well, they should be... In this country, we should be promoting our own talent. Should be proud of your own talent. Promote your own talent.
Yeah.
Help your own talent. They don't do this in this country unless it's an actor they like or director
Yeah,
they
some
like.
of the best actors in the world have come out of Australia.
Yeah, but why do they go to America for?
Because of the bullshit.
Because one, there's not enough work here. Mate, Heath Ledger, he's working here. He doesn't go to America. He's probably doing nothing here.
Home and away or something for the rest of his life.
You know,
Yeah.
I think he did do home and away.
They
But all
did.
these actors, you know, they're that talented. They have to go overseas.
Yeah.
You know? And in Australia, we don't, and unfortunately, it's not just that. We don't have the big budgets and the big money to be able to make as many films in America. America, they're making films all the time.
All the time.
It's huge. So that's why you're constantly working as an actor, which is why a lot of the actors go there because they want to work all the time.
Yeah.
We're here, you do a film, another 2 years you do another film,
Yeah.
or 3 years, 4 years, you do a bit of TV work. You know, this is the life of an actor in Australia, and then you don't get paid much here
Yeah.
compared to where you get paid in America.
Oh, it's-
You know, so there's a big
crazy.
difference. So when I made Hostile Force, it was always about the international sale,
yeah.
and we got the international sale. And I knew I'd get the international sale because, you know, action sells. And I did my homework, you know, I know action sells, I know sci-fi sells, I know horror sells, you know. But in saying that, you know, look, if you're talking about America, you're talking about a small budget film in America. If you spend $10 million on a film in America, that's low budget.
That's low
That's
budget.
independent.
Yeah.
You spend $10 million
That's
here, that's
major.
a big budget in
Yeah,
Australia. It's a
yeah.
big difference. So that's why
Yeah.
America's where it is, America.
Yeah.
Australia where it is.
You think
And
Australia will ever get there?
it comes to population too, man. Like when you make a film in this country, you got to look at what you spend, how much people, your population going to watch it. What's the return from your population to watching this cinema? Where in America you got big.
300 million, 400 million people as opposed to... Yeah, makes
Does that make
sense.
sense?
Yeah, it makes
so
sense.
There's that, and you know, and I think the films we make in Australia at the moment, some of the stuff we're making, to me, it's not an audience. There's no audience. Like if you make it, look, when I make a film, I always think about who's my audience.
Yeah.
Now I've watched some films. I think okay, it's a good, decent film, but who's going to pay
Who's going to pay for that?
$25 or $27 to go watch this film?
Yeah.
And why would they? You know, there's all those kind of things. You know, but you know, I think Australia's come a fair bit compared to where they used to be. Now you see a lot more, you know, ethnics in TV shows, in movies.
A lot more TV shows.
There's
as
a
well.
lot more now than what it was back in my time.
Yeah.
But I mean, compared to Hollywood, we're still far off. I mean, Hollywood, you got Bollywood, you got Chinese cinema. You know, they're great. Even
As you said, big populations, big
population.
budgets.
See, look at China, big population. They can afford to do a big budget film
Yeah, yeah. Very different here.
because you know there's a big intake there. We're in Australia,
It's always like a big deal when they film like a big budget film here, like the Fall Guy or Mad Max.
and the promotions the Americans do.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we make a film here. You probably see a couple of billboards. You might see a trailer here, there, but
There's only so much
American
you can
film
tour
comes
here.
out. It's in your face on a bus, billboard, TV, everywhere you look. On
A
your phone.
lot more money behind it.
100%.
Yeah,
And
a lot
that
more
comes
money
back to population.
Yeah.
And then American films also sell here, they sell internationally because they've got a reputation now. They've had it for a long time. But, you know, I'd like to think one day Australia as a population grows, our budgets grow, and we start making more, more films, that mean something. You know.
What's next for you? What's in the pipeline now?
Well, next year, God willing, I want to shoot a film. So I'm directing and starring in it's called Caught Up. Caught Up. Back to Western Sydney. So I'm coming back to my roots.
Yep.
It's a bit darker. So it's not like The Combination. It has elements, but it's not the combination. I play a cop. Cop that's he's done it tough, and he's dealing with his own demons.
Like a Lebanese Australian cop?
Yeah.
Yep.
Australian cop. And he's got his mate, an Irish friend.
Yep.
They grew up together, but they've taken different paths.
Right.
So he's like a gangster cop, and their world comes colliding. But there's a lot of history.
Right.
So it's not just, it goes back to their childhood, when they're teenagers, and then it all just explodes.
Yep.
And there's in between there's this family, choices. So it's got everything. It's got it all. This one.
Sounds like it's going to be a banger.
I think it's one of the best scripts I've written. I actually do. I think it's one of, if not the best script I've written. I really do. Yeah.
Wow.
But now it's about getting it from script to screen.
Turning it into reality.
You can have a good script, then you've got to turn it into a good film.
David Field involved in that one too, or?
At the moment, no. Because he's actually moved to Melbourne now, so he lives in Melbourne.
Okay.
So at the moment, no. At the moment, it's going to be all me directing.
Yep.
I directed Hostile Forces as well, so
yep.
Yeah. I think it's time for me now to start stepping up and doing, taking the reins, and doing, my vision now.
Yeah.
what I want to do as a filmmaker. It's a big cast, so I'm going to start casting soon, I'd say.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Have you got any actors in mind for it already, or have you reached out to any? Or?
I've reached out to a couple.
Yeah.
But I'm
tight-lipped
for now.
No spoilers.
But I'm also gonna do what I always do. I'm also gonna look for some new talent.
Yep.
I always like to give people an opportunity. That want to be actors, like yourself, want to be an actor.
I did want to be an actor. Yeah.
And if they've got what it takes, I'm more than happy to look at them.
Yep.
And if they got what it takes, I'll bring them on. And so that's all I've always done. Every film I've ever made, up until now, I've always had unknowns, some people that have never acted before.
You've opened doors for people.
That's right. And I can do that. People when I was in the business, no one could give me that opportunity.
No one did that.
So I can do that.
It's like I said, you paved the way for the Arab Australians, and
there's a lot of them now, which is good.
There is a lot of them
There's
now.
a lot of them now. So I'm looking forward to unveiling some new talent as well, man. I think I enjoy that. I enjoy looking at new talent. Like Rahel now. The guy that plays Mo. He was in the Combination 1, Combination 2. He's in America now. He won the Heath Ledger Scholarship. So he's in America. He's hopefully starts playing his trade there, and really good actor. But again, if we didn't give him an opportunity in the Combination,
we would have never known.
No one would have known who Rahel is. So hopefully I can find another Rahel. So yeah, I'll be looking and I'll be putting it out on socials and stuff, and when I'm ready to cast and see how we go from there. But yeah,
look forward to it.
You might have to come on and do a cameo for me.
I'd love to. I'd definitely,
Okay,
yeah,
I'll
I'd
hold
definitely.
you to it.
I'd definitely, mate. You give me the call and I'm there.
Done. You're going to see him on there. Okay? You're going to see him on there.
You heard it here first, guys. George said I'm in his next movie.
My word, okay? I'll give you my word. You come and do a scene for me.
I appreciate that. Definitely.
Done.
Thank you.
Done. George,
man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. As I said, you were an inspiration to me growing up, wanting to be an actor myself and being Lebanese background. I looked up to you and everything you're doing, and you definitely paved the way for a lot of the boys that have come through. And I love the fact that there's no slowing down. You're still going, you're still making movies, you're still paving the way and opening doors for a lot of the younger guys. And
not going to slow down. You slow down when you're dead, mate.
That's it.
You're going to slow down. Keep going and keep working on more projects. So once I do this, I'll be on to another project.
I look forward to seeing everything you do.
You're a champion.
Thank you again, George. I appreciate you.
Pleasure being here.